Well, it seems like I've pretty much finished uh, everything except for the clavicles. So that's the only thing that remains to be done, and then I'm simply going to mirror the widths across. Now you should know that when I say that it seems like it's finished, every now and again you'll see an error, every now and again you'll see a mistake, which you can just go back and fix real quick. So this is pretty much draft one of my final skin painting, if you will, which means that we will test this over and over again, and every time we see problems, we should ideally be able to go back and fix these problems. But for now, this is pretty much where my final version. So there you go, some issues already propping up. Like for example, when I look at these areas, if I want to smoothen them out just a little bit so they don't bulge out like that. Just a little bit more here, and there you go, much better. If I can select these, push them in just a little bit more. There you go, much better. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just basically Alt-S'ing them, which is a shortcut that I have for smooth skin weights. Is much better, certainly. So as I said, this is how it looks for me for now. I'm going to go ahead and do the clavicles next. So let's work on the clavicles, and let's go ahead and keyframe these clavicles. Clavicles are going to go up and down. So here it goes up, here it's going to go down, and I need to smooth these out. Let's hide these. Is going to paint skin weights tool, make sure everything is locked except for the clavicles. So really I'm going to be working, if this area is the part that I'm going to be working in, chest, neck, and clavicle are the joints that are sort of the joints that I'm pretty much going to be working with. Of course, when I'm locking and unlocking, you need to make sure that you're locking and unlocking only 2 joints at a time as much as possible. So let's start out with chest and clavicle. We'll try and avoid hitting the neck. So this part right here looks fairly nice, which is closer to the shoulder. As you go away from the shoulder, I want things to be fairly smoothed out. So if I could just select a bunch of these over here, these are the areas that I need smoothing. If I'm spilling out into other areas, I'm not particularly worried about it. So yeah, those are certainly the parts that I want to smoothen out. So let's go into, there you go, this one certainly deserves a select. So I'm going to go ahead into my paint mode, into my clavicle, and start smoothing out. Now one of the things you want to avoid doing is selecting vertices in the center. You don't want to select vertices in the center. So in fact, let's start out with that. Let's in fact start out by selecting the vertices in the center. I don't want these vertices to be controlled by the clavicle at all. So these are my vertices in the center. Let's go to the chest and let's, there you go. So full control over the chest, if you will. So my clavicle is pretty much controlling, or it's working on vertices that are not exactly in the center, much more to the left of it. Now let's go ahead and select areas that I need to smoothen with the clavicles, and let's make sure that we're deselecting central vertices and even vertices on the right hand side. Don't need to select those. Something like that. So those are the areas, and my neck is locked, so I don't necessarily have to worry about these right here. So let me go ahead and smoothen these out. Smooth, yes. As soon as you start to see that right here, that means you're now going beyond the vertices that are in control of the joints that you're working on. So make sure you don't see that message right there, specified weight could not be set due to locked influences. That means you've gone too far. Control Z, your way back, deselect vertices. That normally happens when Maya is unable to work with what you have going. So just make sure you limit your number of selection and just go ahead and start smoothing it again. See what it looks like. Now here, this part right here is where I need more control from the chest, so I'm just going to go ahead and select this area right here. Not you, not you. And that's the part that I want to add more to the chest, if you will. So let me just go ahead and start replacing it very slowly. And then start smoothing out those parts again. For my clavicle, so just smooth it out. Not quite like that, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more weight to the chest here. And you see that now that I've selected my chest, a good portion of my right hand side is not painted. Don't worry about it. Once you mirror your weights, things will be fine. So right now I'm only focusing on making my left hand side look good. So let's work on only that part for now. Nope. Painting weights is absolutely the most amount of time that you will spend doing a single activity. And so this needs to be done well, because your control rig could be fantastic, but if your geometry doesn't deform well, then there is absolutely no point in making that. Eventually, your rig is as good as it deforms. So let's see what this looks like. Once again, select that one right there. Let's add some more to the chest. So let's say there you go, something like that. Yes, that's looking much better actually. Just go to the clavicle and start smoothing things out. That's nice. Let's smooth some of these areas right here. Smooth some of these areas. And some of these. And so I hope you understand that there is no particular formula of fixing something like this. This is pretty much, you know, like looking at things and working on them as you go. This is the part that I need to smoothen out a little bit. I don't want you to memorize any of these steps, because there is literally no point in memorizing any of this. The trick is to look at how your model looks and how you can fix it. So that looks like a good clavicle for now. That's a good clavicle up. That's also a good clavicle down, maybe. Maybe these are some vertices that I can work on just a little bit. So let's smoothen that just a bit. just a bit like that. So there you go. So my clavicle kind of looks nice. It's extending its influence all the way down. That looks pretty good. Let's also do the front and the back of the clavicle to make sure it's looking good when my character does this, and my character takes it back like that. Now I know that some of those vertices, let me just go ahead, select some of those and Alt S them just a little bit of it, that's all. There you go, not too much. All right. Well, that is looking pretty good actually. Now, here's what I'm going to do. You see that the central line is so rigid right now. So what I want is I want to take the influence exerted on the central line by the chest and I want to spread it out between the left and the right clavicle. Otherwise, my clavicles look pretty good. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm simply going to go ahead and mirror my skin weights. And remember, this is the configuration. Set your influence association 1 to closest joint and influence association 2 to label. Mirror it, and that way you have your left clavicle and your right clavicle, which are functioning just fine. And now I'm going to pretty much select chest, left clavicle, and my right clavicle. Everything else, I'm going to unlock these right here. I'm going to select these vertices in the center, if you will, and then some of these in the back. Okay, let's go back into the painted weights tool, and I'm going to very gradually smooth these. So that's flood, flood. And so now, there you go. There you go, just a few Alt S's. This is going to make sure. There you go, your curves are nice and smooth. And that clavicle looks pretty good to me. Good. That's it. That is what I think your final skin is going to look like. Make sure you lock everything and you unpin everything, and before you call it done, select the geometry, mirror your skin weights one more time. Make sure your joints have no animation on them, and that is your first finalized complete draft of skin painting. Now remember that your process isn't completely done. This is an ongoing process. If you feel like you need to spend some more time, if you need to test it, I might have to test this particular skin, and I know that some issues will come up which I will fix over a period of time, which you always can. But this is certainly good enough for us to be able to take to the next level, which is basically now building your control rig, if you will. So that is good enough, and I'm going to call that done.